Alrighty, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. My name is Dawn Joves, and I am the Diversity Partnerships Coordinator at UC Santa Cruz. The team and I just want to let you all know the setup of the program. So this is everything we're going to be covering today. We've made sure there's plenty of time for questions with our panelists and participants, but at the base of your screen, there is a Q&A button so you can submit questions. And we have a team of students and admissions officers that can help you with any of your questions. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our MC, the director of our African American Resource and Cultural Center, Shonte Thomas.
Of course. Zoom, been doing it for a couple years and still was on mute. Hello, greetings, happy Saturday, everyone. I hope this program finds you well, safe, and in great spirits. My name is Shonte Thomas. I use she, her pronouns, and as Dawn noted, I am the director for the African American Resource and Cultural Center, and I'm also an alumna of UC Santa Cruz. In this equitable, liberatory diversity work, we must continue to recognize the original stewards of the land in which we gather. While we are across a variety of different spaces due to our current virtual realities, I want to acknowledge the land on which I currently reside is the unceded territory of the Awaswas-speaking UP tribe of the Amamutsun tribal band. And for our students and families joining us today, congratulations on embarking on this new and exciting part of your life. While I wish we were all under better conditions, I definitely want to take some time to give you more information about UC Santa Cruz, as well as you'll be able to engage directly with some student staff here to learn more about the student life experience. Taking the next step in selecting your college as a celebratory event, so you should be super excited and very proud of what you've been able to accomplish. As well, I want to send some gratitude to my partners in the Office of Admissions for their diligence to host this and many other comparable programs to support our minoritized students at UCSC. And I would be remiss if I did not mention another round of gratitude for all of the people in the background. Shout out to Parker. Thank you for all of your work, supporting our tech needs and the folks that have sent out the invitations, which have us all here today. And last but certainly not least, I want to make sure that I thank each and all of our current students, staff, and faculty for taking some time out of their Saturday to join us in this celebratory event. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the attributes of UCSC. Our campus is located in Northern California, 45 minutes south of San Jose International Airport in our lush redwood forest. In my opinion, again, as an alumna and someone who's been in this role for 6 years, aesthetically, UCSC is by far one of the most beautiful campuses in this country. Being a student here, you will be exposed to some of the more breathtaking exhibitions of nature, constant fresh air, and an occasion few wild animals. We have deer. We definitely have some turkeys, and we have banana slug, which is our mascot. They do exist. They are real life beings. And for those folks that haven't had the chance to visit our campus, here's a quick 2-minute video highlighting parts of our 2,000-acre campus.
Santa Cruz as a place just has a certain aura about it that you can't explain. It's in the people, it's in the environment, it's in the surroundings, it's in the city itself.
I really love the outdoors, and UC Santa Cruz feels such a emotional base where I can de-stress, and there's so many trails everywhere that you can just go in and feel like you are in nature itself, like you're not on a university campus, which I love.
We champion diversity and provide a safe space to create new knowledge. We are committed to social and environmental justice in a changing world. Our interdisciplinary approach creates global citizens with the will to engage with complex problems. We are unique, we are innovators, we are banana slugs.
UC Santa Cruz is one of 9 campuses in the University of California system. We have a truly unique and beautiful setting on 2,000 acres of redwoods and fields overlooking the Monterey Bay.
Coming from a different country, I was initially very nervous, but you do get that immediate calming feeling once you step onto campus.
Hey, did you see that question about the student who wasn't able to see the video?
When I was looking at other universities, I met up with a lot of representatives and I asked them about the research opportunities, and they all kind of looked at me funny when I mentioned that I was interested in getting into research as an undergraduate student, maybe as a freshman or even a sophomore. And here I found those opportunities available to me right off the bat. They really encourage undergraduate students to get into research in all areas of study, not just the sciences and engineering. There's opportunities in every single major.
We are passionate free thinkers who engage in shaping the world. Mavericks, explorers, visionaries.
Okay, thank you for that. Just want to send a quick reminder to all folks to please mute yourself. I recognize that we're all disoriented in a variety of ways with the use of technology, and it's just a fun reminder to mute so that we're not picking up background noise. Again, thanks for everyone working to support this event and pulling together in this really challenging time. And I want to name that as well, as this environment is not normal. We will get through this. I know there are a variety of challenges that we're all up against, and I really just appreciate everyone's ability to come together and continue to work towards a better sense of what we consider our normalcy. So we will get through this. But again, thank you for everyone for being here today and considering UC Santa Cruz. Back on script. So one unique attribute at the University of California, Santa Cruz are the 10 residential colleges, as we see here on the screen. The residential colleges offer a small scale community for students within the larger university. The colleges are not based on majors, as you will take your classes all across campus. In order to select your college, you're strongly encouraged to utilize the website for each respective community so that you have a better sense of their theme. For example, Stevenson College's theme is Self and Society. It emphasizes the goals of both self-understanding and active participation in one's community. The Rosa Parks African American Theme House, best known to all of us as our path, is located at Stevenson College, and it has been a vibrant and supportive space for African Black Caribbean students. As a frosh, each college you'll be enrolled in a core course, and the curriculum has an alignment with the college's theme. So again, be mindful of the websites, the theme. We all have a different aesthetic as far as the different colleges, and just become a little bit more familiar with the potential place that will then be your home base. At Porter College, it's also known as our transfer community. So a lot of transfers will choose to live at Porter. But again, as a transfer student, you have the ability to live within any college that best suits your needs. Please note, for incoming frosh, housing is guaranteed for 2 years. And for incoming transfer students, it's guaranteed for 1 year. We want to make sure that you please submit the appropriate forms on time to make sure that you will be connected with the college of your choice. As evidenced on this slide, we have an active campus with a variety of student activities for engagement. Whether you want to participate in a student organization, an academic society, a Black letter Greek organization, and/or arts and enrichment, there's very likely something for you here. In order to speak more to that student experience, I would like to transition us to hear directly from our guest panelists. You will be able to learn more about some of the groups and activities that they have been involved with at the campus. As a reminder for our panelists, you have approximately 3 to 4 minutes, and I will give a gentle 1-minute warning when you're getting to that point. So first, I'd like to introduce our panelist, Sydney Robinson. He is a second-year computer science major and music minor. His passions include computers, music, and experiencing the beauty of nature. Sydney, you're on.
Hello, y'all. Pleasure to be here. My name is Sydney Robinson. I'm a computer science major, music minor. I'm from a small hometown called Moreno Valley, California, which is about southeast of Riverside. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm a Stevenson College affiliate. I'm also a residential assistant for Stevenson College. And I'm involved in a bunch of things. I am on the board for NSBE, which is the National Society of Black Engineers. I in the UCSC Jazz Ensemble, which is led by famous African-American trombone player Charles Hamilton. I'm also engaged in athletics such as slug, ultimate frisbee. So my experience was an interesting one. I was touring a bunch of different colleges, and I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go. I toured a bunch of different places, Oregon, Washington, and then I came to Santa Cruz. And by far, the ABC reception at UC Santa Cruz was the best I've ever experienced. At all the other colleges I visited, it was nowhere near as close to as warm and welcoming as UC Santa Cruz was. And it just had a certain vibe and a certain friendliness that really made me select UCSC. I'll be talking a little bit about my life as a current UCSC student. I'm going to talk about some internships. I know a lot of people here are STEM, and they're looking to break into tech and the STEM field. Internships are a really great way of breaking into that field, but it's all about networking, and being at UC Santa Cruz has been a great experience for me to do that. Through NESB, other orgs, and just talking to people around me, you see ways to incorporate yourself and push diversity in fields that don't expect you to succeed, such as STEM, or just internships in general. Through NESB, I have two mentors. They've really helped me grow as a person and as an engineer, as someone pursuing a professional degree. My mentors are Theodore Tefera and Itana Renee Parker, and they both do great work in making sure that I'm taken care of, that I am getting and meeting my needs emotionally, physically, and they just keep me grounded and realize that as a person of color, you can exist in spaces that aren't designed for you, and you can even thrive in those. So I really thank them for all that great work that they do and just keeping me grounded. I really encourage you to get involved with professional orgs like NESB and all the other great orgs on campus. If I had two tips for incoming students, my tips would be definitely get involved, go try new things, experience new things, meet new people. It's one of the best ways to find yourself a family, find yourself a place where you feel like you're welcomed and really learn and grow about yourself as a person. And another tip definitely would be learn about all the great resources that you have on campus. I know as an incoming freshman or someone who's just transferring in, it's definitely daunting. You feel like you don't really know what's going on, and there's a lot of foreign processes that are new, even to people that aren't even people that aren't first gen. So definitely go talk to your resources and meet with people, send emails, set up meetings, follow up with your professors, and go to office hours. And just taking that extra time to make those connections and talk to people is going to get you really far, and it's going to make you feel like Santa Cruz is another home for you. Thank you.
Wow, I love that concision. Thank you, Sydney, for sharing your story and giving us more insight to the ways in which you've explored and learned through UCSC. We will have another opportunity to hear a little bit more from Sydney once we open it up to the Q&A. Next, I would like to introduce our panelist, Kitoto Sills. Kitoto is a senior. They are majoring in literature with a concentration in creative writing. I'm very excited to announce that they will also be attending the University of Central Florida for an MFA in creative writing in the fall. So Kitoto, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Yeah, my name is Kitoto. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm from a little town called Los Angeles, California. My college affiliation is with Kresge, and let's see, campus. I selected UCSC. I came in as a transfer student. I was very much like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going to get into. And UCSC was like a bit of like a gamble for me. And so far it's paid off. I was really worried about like going to like a larger university because where I went my freshman year, it was like super small. And I thought that like that would be a benefit, and it really wasn't. But in the same way, having like the college, like once you get like into your upper division, like majors and things like that, everything feels a lot smaller, and everyone feels like a lot more committed. And I think when you find your professors like within your major, they're really looking to like help you out and like trying to make sure that you have the best opportunities going forward. I'm an intern for both the creative writing program, and for winter quarter, I was an intern for the writing department. I would tutor first year students in, their writing 1 and 2 classes. That's just like the basic, that's the class you take after your first 2 core classes. But 2 tips that I would have for incoming students: invest in a great pair of walking shoes. By far, that is the best thing I can offer to you, because even though we have 2 bus systems that run around on campus, it's almost faster to walk from one end of campus to the other, and there's so much to see, and absolutely there's nothing better than just like walking through the forest, especially after it rains. And the second piece of advice is to just buy a planner, get organized, learn how to use Google Calendar. That's the best thing I can offer to you.
Thank you, Kitoto. And those were brilliant suggestions, because once we do connect together in person, you will be back on campus, and there are definitely opportunities for you to explore the campus from point A to point Z. So our last panelist, I would like to introduce Dr. Aaron Jones. So Dr. Aaron Jones is the Associate Director for Black Student Success. He has been with UCSC for 4 amazing years. We really appreciate Dr. Jones in a large way. I'm going to turn off my timer because we're done. He loves comic books, action research, and really building towards a better and more just environment for higher education. So without further ado, Dr. Jones.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Shonte said, I've been here for 4 years and have been enjoying supporting and working with our African and Black Caribbean students. I use the pronoun he, him, and his. And just to tell you a little bit about my position and my job, I have the pleasure of working directly under the future Dr. Shonte Thomas in the African American Resource and Cultural Center. And as well, I have a reporting line to Educational Opportunity Programs. And EOP is an office that supports first generation and low income students here on campus through academic advising and counseling, and lots of programs to help support their success and promote educational equity. And so I sit within those 2 places with an intent to support the personal, professional, and academic development and success of all of our ABC students, and as well any student that has any minoritized identities. And I do that through one-on-one or group advising and counseling, as well as putting on this great program that I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about later, Black Academy. And so this program is really about orienting students to campus. And so besides this program and several other programs that happen to support you in transitioning from high school or community college to the university, it has a very specific focus on ABC students. And it allows for you to build community and to just learn about all of the great resources that we want you to take advantage of throughout your years. As well, I tried throughout the year to support folks through putting on seminars and programs to help you understand what it means to be here and what it's going to take for you to be successful once you leave here with your degree. And lastly, I'll say that I'm constantly looking for new ways to support folks, and that comes with, right now I'm teaching a course through Oaks College that is navigating the research university through a Black critical lens. And so with things like that and other opportunities that I'm still investigating, we want to best support you in the best way possible. And one piece of advice I would say, and probably other people will, add to this as well, is that we're here. And there are a lot more folks even besides us that are on this call that are here to support. And so it takes a little bit of reading your email and reaching out to us when you don't know where to go. At the very least, you can come to us and folks within our position and the students that we work with, and happy to have you here. And I'm looking forward to answering more questions later.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jones. So now I would like to open it up for a brief Q&A session with our guests and panelists and some of our current staff, students, and faculty. At this time, I'm going to call on some of the folks that are here with us in this forum to briefly introduce themselves. Again, as a reminder, I invite you to use your pronouns. For students, definitely your year, your major, student organizations you're affiliated with. For our staff and faculty, again, invite you to use your pronouns, your name, as well as your title, department, function of your role, because sometimes those can be 5 or 6 different things. And again, if we can keep it somewhat brief, because we want to make sure we can field as many questions as possible. So I will kick it off with Dr. Thomas, if you could share with us.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Miriam Tellis. I'm an assistant professor in Earth and Planetary Sciences. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I've been here since 2017, going to be 3 years now.
Thank you. Shonte. And I'm not calling myself. There's another amazing human named Shonte.
So crazy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shonte Larkins, also lovingly referred to as the other Shonte. I, like Shonte Thomas, am a partial alum of UC Santa Cruz, and I am currently the assistant manager and undergraduate program coordinator for the Critical Race and Ethnic Studies program here at UC Santa Cruz.
Thank you. Courtney.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Courtney Prather. I'm the Associate Athletic Director and Senior Woman Administrator for the Department of Athletics and Recreation. My main roles include overseeing the front of the house operations for our East Fieldhouse facilities. I oversee all of our PE programs, but more importantly, I serve as a liaison to all of our resources on campus, from our Title IX offices to our EOP to any Title VII issues, and try to bring my main job is really just to create space and opportunities for people of color to recreate. And that hasn't been, that really hasn't been something that's been offered on a larger scale, and that's what I'm here to do. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Sadell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sadell Sewaltz. My pronouns are she, hers. I am the program coordinator for the African American Resource and Cultural Center. And my job is basically to, of course, coordinate programs and help the director, Shonte, and the other interns for the center with any other tasks they need to be done for event planning. And so I actually just graduated last quarter. So I've been in this position for exactly 1 week.
Thank you. Jasmine.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine Banks. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm a third-year double majoring in psychology and critical race and ethnic studies. I am a student programs coordinator for the African American Resource and Cultural Center, so I also work closely with Shonte to do programming and support students here on campus. I'm also a residential assistant for Stevenson College and a lead peer mentor for the Summer Edge program.
Thank you so much. Siade.
Hi, everyone. My name is Siade. I am a second-year double major within community studies and psychology. I'm one of the mentors for the Rosa Parks African American Themed House. I'm also on the board of African Student Union, and I'm also an intern at our University Student Health Outreach and Promotion Center.
Thank you. Al.
Hi, everyone. My name is Al Covington. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm the Divisional Human Resources Manager for IT Services here. kind of what I do, what that means. When you're close to graduation or after your work, or after you graduate, you will likely be at work most of your time. So long story short, I help people navigate the bureaucracy of the UC because we have a lot of policies as a federal contractor that we have to follow. And I help leaders and people all over campus follow those to the best of their ability to achieve their goals. How long I've been here, it'll be my 6th year anniversary on Juneteenth. And I asked myself why I stayed. And I've been very excited with a lot of the change that's happened on our campus in recent years. And as a professional, it makes me excited for what's possible for the future. Thanks for being here.
Awesome sauce. Thank you so much. So again, this is not the critical mass of folks that are at UCSC, but these are the folks that were able to join us today. And again, super appreciative of their time. So now that you know a little bit more about some of the folks that are here to support you as an incoming either FROSH or transfer student, we'd like to hear more from you. So what are some of the questions you have for our specific guests and the panelists and or some of the students and staff and faculty who have joined us today?
Yeah, so some of the questions that we're seeing involve support for mental health for our ABC students. If anyone would like to chime in on that.
So I can take that one from the top, and then folks want to add a little bit more information. So we do have our counseling and psychological services, and we have been really gifted with Dr. Jackie Rabowin, who is a mental health therapist, but she's specifically targeted to serve our African Black Caribbean population here on campus. Unfortunately, she was not able to be with us here today, but she is a vibrant support system in our community, and I know a fair amount of students are working directly with her. A large part of what we want to do is continue to destigmatize the reality of seeking additional support services by licensed therapists, and that's something that we are definitely continuing to do. But we do have an ACAPS counselor who is solely dedicated for our Black student population here. If anyone else wanted to add to that, we can, and then if not, we'll field another question. Okay.
All right. Some other questions that we're seeing is for all of our STEM students, what support do you have from faculty, with career guidance, any pre-med advice for our future ABC doctors?
I can talk a bit about this one. So support-wise for STEM students, there's a bunch of different orgs. There's NSBE, MEP, which is really great, multicultural engineering program. The head of that is actually Jennifer Woods, I believe, and she does a great job of making sure that you're supported, making sure that you have all the resources you need, and just getting involved with an org that's going to support you, because there's a bunch of different ones. There's the ACE program, which helps people from ethnically diverse backgrounds do well in some courses through one-on-one tutoring and weekly tutoring sessions where people come and practice programs. And it's really refreshing seeing people that look like you, because on a day-to-day as a STEM student, you're not going to see a lot of people that look like you. It's a predominantly white major. So just having the resources and existing in spaces that are there and designed to support you really help you on a day-to-day, and I highly recommend them.
And then Dr. Tellis, I don't know if you wanted to chime in from different things you've seen in your Earth and planetary science world.
I'll try. My son is here making noise in the background. So yeah, so I'm coming from a different perspective. As a professor, I really tried to incorporate a lot of different tactics to make sure all of my students are being accommodated. So like making sure they know what resources are available, giving them some flexibility with turning in assignments, and I try to make the class, you know, basically accessible for all of the students, especially in Earth and Planetary Sciences. We have 30% Latinx students, so just a few ABC students, but you know, that's my first year there were none, so this is great. But yeah, for our department, we do a lot. We have resources, so students who need extra like tutoring and support can get those. And we have also programs like a specific club for students to encourage inclusion and diversity in our field. And I know all of the teachers in my department, we try very hard to make the classes something that all students, especially students of color, can be successful at and benefit from. So, I mean, if there's a specific question, maybe I could try to answer that.
That was great. Thank you, Dr. Tellis. Dawn, what other questions do we have?
We have some questions on housing. So if students wanted to describe their experiences with, finding housing after the first 2 years, if they came in as a freshman and they're guaranteed housing, I'll open that up to the floor. Anybody?
Dawn, can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
So what has been the experience for students finding housing after the first 2 years of their guaranteed housing?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, go for it.
Go
okay. I came in as a transfer student, so I was guaranteed my 1 year of housing. I stayed in Porter because I just wanted to be with other transfer students because it's just, I felt like they would get it just coming in, like being new to the campus area, and you're meeting sometimes it's older students, it's just a different vibe of student. After my first year, when it came time to register for housing, I wasn't guaranteed for any form of on-campus housing, and so I had to look off campus. There is a website on the housing web. There is a website from the housing department, and I was able to find a place. I know I was super lucky with my housing. It was $750 for a double. I think other people in the house who had singles were paying upwards of $800, $1,000 for their single room. I know it's considered it is cheaper to live off campus. I miss the convenience of just being on campus, but I think the independence of going off campus is necessary as far as being a college student. So
just a quick note to add what she just said is that for generally the students have a 2-year guarantee, but if you are an ELP student, you have another year of a guarantee. And the site that Toto is talking about is the community rentals site. And these are kind of more verified places that are interested in renting to folks that are affiliated with the university community, mainly students, faculty, and staff. And so as a staff member, it is also challenging to find housing off campus because we don't, there are some spaces on campus for faculty and staff, but it's very impacted and not a lot of us get that opportunity to have faculty staff housing. And so it can be sometimes a little challenging, but the community rental site, and then just communicating, contacting folks afterward, other students and other folks that are looking to room together is kind of your best bet.
Thanks, Dr. Jones. Does anyone else want to interject with their experiences?
I just wanted to add real quick that if people did want to try and live on campus after those 2 years of guaranteed or 3 years, you could also apply to be a residential assistant. That's what I did. If you become a residential assistant, you get free housing. You get a free single in either a dorm, in a residential hall, or in an apartment. And then you also get a free 7-day meal plan with the dining hall. So that's another option if anyone is interested in that position. So yeah.
Thanks, Jasmine. Um, Jasmine, could you elaborate a little bit more on what the process is to be an RA?
Yeah, so basically around winter quarter, we have like 3 quarters at UCSC, so fall, winter, spring. So the winter quarter before you would like want to be an RA, so let's say I wanted to be an RA next year, I would have applied during winter quarter. You can apply for, I don't know if there's a limit to the amount of colleges you can apply for, but you do rank your preferences. You don't have to be an RA for the college that you are affiliated with. So you can apply to be one at any of the 10 residential colleges, and they will get back to you individually and do the interview process by each college, if that makes sense. So they reach out to you, and then you apply and interview. But yeah.
Thank you. Some questions that we're also seeing for the students. What was it like? What was your access like to the GE courses? Was it difficult? Did you get the classes you needed to get? That's on the floor.
I can speak to that. So in my experience, getting into GE courses was pretty easy, except getting into Intro to Psych. Psych is one of the most popular majors at this university, so really getting into any psychology class was difficult for me. One of the classes I had to get into as a prereq, I had to wait 3 quarters to get into. But besides that, any other course that I needed to fulfill my GEs was pretty easy to get into, so.
Thanks, Adele.
Hey, everybody, this is Courtney Prather again from athletics. I forgot to mention my pronouns, she, her, hers, they, them, theirs, and I have been here about 7.5 months. But in part of my duties and what we are working on currently is we're actually going to be moving our physical education program and stepping it up into a notch to where we will be offering courses for credit that will help you have an opportunity to collect GE credits from a physical education standpoint. So for us, it's a win-win. It gives you more opportunities to meet those GE requirements, but also hopefully provides more of an opportunity for people to experience physical activity, outdoor adventures, or anything that might be something that you might be interested in, and taking away some of those financial barriers that stand in place right now. So be looking for that if you're coming into, looking to fulfill some of those credits starting next fall of 2020. These will actually be credits that you can consider for GEs now. Just wanted to add that.
Ooh, thanks for that insight, Courtney. Got a little sneak peek.
Some of the other questions that we are getting are related to just what is the climate of the campus from all y'all's perspective as ABC staff, faculty, and students.
Have some students speak to that first. Siade, we haven't heard from you. Would you like to share?
I would say that it really depends on where you are and who you surround yourself with. Like if you're in a lot of POC spaces, especially in African American spaces, the campus climate is going to feel completely different than if you're not with a lot of people that you identify with. So I definitely think that it can sometimes feel isolating when you're not around other Black people or other people that make you feel comfortable. But when you are with those people and you have that group or that place that you feel safe, the climate for me, honestly, like I have my spaces, I have my people. So honestly, I love the campus climate. But there is, of course, at times where it can definitely feel like isolating and sometimes just not as safe. But yeah, I feel like it really depends on the people you surround yourself with.
Thank you.
I want to add something. So I'm a professor, but I'm in the STEM. So I can say a little bit about being a Black student or a Black person in STEM. And so there's not a lot of us at least on Science Hill, there aren't a lot of Black identified people as far as I know. And so what I've done is basically you kind of have to be more proactive about connecting with people if you find yourself like in a isolated somehow, you know, you have to. So basically I would go basically meet with Shonte or get involved in some programs where I can regularly interact with other ABC folks. And that has helped me a great deal with being more comfortable on the campus.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I'll also interject, and this point has been made, but I will quantify it a bit. So for UC Santa Cruz, we have approximately 4% of students that identify as African, Black, Caribbean, which is comparable to other UCs. You know, folks usually kind of balk at that number, but when you really look at other universities, they are larger. We have about 17,000 students. So out of that, again, 4%, you're looking at about 700 students, undergraduate students specifically that identify as African, Black, Caribbean, which feels like a drop in the bucket. And then there are instances where, again, as Siade pointed, you can have that feeling of isolation, but that's the primary reason why we are front loading this information with this program, why you receive different messages from myself, really introducing you to the Black community here at UCSC. So other programs such as Black Academy are really aimed and targeted to support you and help you build that community. You can easily go, you know, these 4 or 5 or 6 years or 2 years if you're coming as a transfer student and choose to be inactive in the community. Again, that would be your prerogative. But if you're looking for a way to enrich and contribute, you know, to the university and the world that we have made here at UCSC, you definitely have that opportunity. So again, you have the prerogative to engage, but there are folks here that are willing to support you and guide you and fill in and continue to pour into you as a human here on campus. And also, again, we welcome, you know, all folks to engage as they see fit. But there is a vibrant community here. We're small, but we're mighty.
Hey, Shonte, this is the other Shonte. Can I just add something really quickly? So again, Shonte Larkins, Assistant Manager for Critical Race and Ethnic Studies, currently working on rolling out, hopefully, our Black Studies minor in the fall, so keep your fingers crossed. I just want to add a little bit to what Shonte Thomas has said, you know, where you find communities on campus is really going to depend sometimes on your major. Some majors, specifically in the social sciences division and the humanities and the arts, you will find more students of color there. So, you know, also depending on what some of your other interests are outside of your academics, you know, there's no telling where you may find your community. Critical Race and Ethnic Studies, our faculty is one of the most diverse faculty departments on campus. And we host a lot of events that are open not just to our students, but to students from all different majors. Most of my students actually double major in the humanities and social sciences, so maybe they're CRES in Anthro or CRES in sociology. I even have a few students who are CRES in STEM. But I just wanted to put that out there because we put on a lot of programming specifically in the Division of the Humanities that are designed to bring the community together and have broader conversations about campus climate, about things that are going on in the world, where you will be able to commune with people who are like-minded and who share some similar spaces as yourself. So, you know, I just wanted to put that out there, that there are going to be other opportunities from other parts of campus for you to engage in.
Thank you, Shonte. So we have time for just one more question, and we saw that you have financial aid questions, but don't worry, our financial aid representative will have a Q&A after his panel. But the last question that we'd like to take is about Black Greek life. So if any of our students wanted to add in, or if any of our faculty or staff who are part of the Divine Nine wanted to bring anything up.
So I'll speak quickly and then I'll pan it over to Dr. Jones. So none of the students right now that are active on the call are in any of the BGLOs, but we do have 2 active organizations. So Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, and then also Zeta Phi Beta. They are to sororities. They've been doing a really great job in really bringing in the tradition and histories of what the BGLOs have meant to our Black community. And I'm super proud of the work that they've been able to do. Again, it is a challenge because they usually have a relatively small number of members at any given time, but we are definitely effortlessly working to bring on and charter more chapters here at the university. So if that is an interest that you have, do not allow that to be a deterrent, because again, you have the opportunity to be supported by different folks here to make, you know, your dreams come true. So if you really want to, you know, be a part of some of the other 7 that aren't currently active here on campus, that opportunity is there for you. Dr. Jones, and I'll let him do all the things that he does, but is an active member of a fraternity. So Dr. Jones, you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. It is the first intercollegiate fraternity for African American men, founded in 1906. And so we are trying to make some efforts to recharter a chapter of that particular organization, and just kind of working to bring about more awareness about the other organizations that are within what we call the Divine Nine. So I'm working actively with the SAMECA office, or the Student Organization and Advising Resources office, to really try to bring awareness and as well give the opportunity to connect with folks that are a part of those organizations and share kind of what the requirements are and what it would take. So if folks have more questions about that, I'm more than happy to talk about that. But can't do much of anything until we get back on campus, like when you actually get to campus. So yeah.
Thanks, Dr. Jones. So like I mentioned, we will be taking more questions after for financial aid. I know we saw that we got a lot of questions there. So our financial aid person will be taking questions after his section, but I'll hand it back to Shonte to introduce our next speaker.
Awesome, so much. So thank you again to all of our esteemed panelists, our student, staff, and faculty, again, for taking time to share their experiences. Again, we will have a little bit more time towards the end to engage a bit more directly, and there will be additional information sent to you all. So if you have more specific questions for myself or Dr. Jones or other folks, we're more than happy to field those questions too. So with that, I am very excited to introduce our keynote speaker, Wisdom Cole. So Wisdom Cole graduated from UCSC in 2015. As a student, Wisdom was a powerhouse. I've all the stories and all the things that we don't have time to engage in today, but he's definitely someone that I respect deeply and really appreciate his ethic and his contributions. He worked actively in a variety of different organizations. He worked to mobilize students. He worked to also keep us very honest in our roles as staff and faculty at the university. Currently, Wisdom is organizing college students all over the country with the NAACP to mobilize for civil rights advocacy through training institutes, electoral action training, grassroots organizing, issuing toolkits and webinars, and more. So without further ado, I'm really excited to hear all the things that you want to share with us. So Wisdom, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shonte, for that lovely introduction. First of all, I just want to say I'm so happy to be here with y'all on this call. Just hearing everything from the students, from the staff about what's happening at UC Santa Cruz makes me so proud. I myself is from San Bernardino, so hearing people from Moreno Valley, you know, it's really great to see that. To see all the STEM folks who are on this call. I was a chemistry major back in college, and so just hearing everything that folks are working on and doing just brings me so much joy. It's really an honor and pleasure to join y'all today for the ABC reception. I want to first start off by congratulating all of you, your families, your ancestors for being admitted to UC Santa Cruz. This was hard work, and y'all deserve it. As a class of 2015 alumni of UC Santa Cruz, it's so great just to see the work that's happening on campus and continuing the long legacy of Black students before you have attended UC Santa Cruz. I also want to start by saying that I know that we're living in some interesting times, some difficult times, and this COVID-19 pandemic and crisis is really highlighting some issues that particularly affect the Black community, thinking about access to healthcare, thinking about health disparities, and a bunch of other policy issues affecting our community. Yet, I know that this is a very important time in your young lives. It's probably the first time many of you are moving away from home, the first time y'all are going to be meeting people from all walks of life. And for the many of y'all, it's going to be the first time you actually get to vote in a very, very important election that will affect your future. And so I want to recognize that the nation is actually looking to you all and asking you to think about all of us, which is a really interesting ask, because I think that oftentimes when people are talking about collectivism and talking about community investment, we haven't always seen the best examples from elected leaders, policymakers, and our elders. But something that I learned at UC Santa Cruz is that we can be the change we want to see in the world. I remember starting in 2011, driving up the 5 freeway from San Bernardino with my mom, going to Santa Cruz, really nervous, super excited to start the next chapter in my life, not knowing what actually would happen, but thinking that, as a future biochemistry major, I was going to be studying all the time. I was going to be in the library all the time, keep my head in the books, thinking that was going to be my life at Santa Cruz. And when I got there, that's not what happened. I remember getting to driving up and actually getting to Oaks College and being welcomed by the orientation leaders. His name was Bami, and he actually was Nigerian American like myself. And come to find out years later when we both graduated that both of our dads actually went to college together back in Nigeria. And so thinking about how big this world is and folks coming together from all walks of life, all different parts of the country, all different parts of California, and having a connection like that was once in a lifetime. My first day of Santa Cruz was filled with so many unique experiences, including me turning 18 on the very second day of college, and my entire dorm building singing happy birthday for me. I remember trying to get to the library, going through the Oaks path and running through the forest for the very first time, like me coming from the suburbs of San Bernardino, running through the forest being like, I don't know what's about to happen, but I got to get to this job interview. Staying up all night discussing new ideas with my friends, joining my first student organization, going to the beach boardwalk, going for hikes in Pocono. Honestly, it was just such a phenomenal time during my life, and things that continue to be part of my life today. Though my time at UC Santa Cruz started really great, there were still a lot of struggles for me as a Black student. As we've been talking a lot, thinking about the STEM major, thinking about Black students in STEM, I definitely had that same feeling of being the only Black student in many of my STEM classes, right? Having different students and professors look at me sideways, really questioning if I deserve to be here, and forcing me to question myself if I deserve to be here as well. And what really got me through these times was really thinking about how I could turn to my Black community at UC Santa Cruz. An important principle that I feel that I learned at UC Santa Cruz that you may have heard of before is a principle that comes from South Africa called Ubuntu. And essentially it means I am because we are. For me, what this means is that I exist because we exist, and we exist because I exist, right? Everything that I do affects my community, and everything that happens to my community affects me. And so this is a principle that I've actually kept very close to myself in my life in everything that I do. And so when I think about being a part of the Black community at UC Santa Cruz, it really taught me to love myself for the very first time in my life. Something that I'll never forget, something that I will always carry with me. And it gave me the opportunity to be a part of so many unique Black student initiatives. Folks were talking about our path earlier. Now we used to say, whose path? Our path. That was an amazing time for me, right? There was, at the time I was on campus, there actually weren't many Black students living at our path. And me and my best friend, Shadden Awad, actually came together and was like, hey, let's become the RAs at our path, and let's recruit Black students to live in this space, because this space was dedicated to Black students, dedicated to enriching the lives of Black students and exposing the campus to Black culture. It's time for Black students to live in that space. Another really important opportunity for me that I took advantage of was being a part of something called the African Black Coalition. The African Black Coalition is the largest Black student organization or student-led movement in California. And I had the opportunity to actually organize a conference in 2014 when it came to Santa Cruz. And that experience for me, just tapping into the rich Black history of Santa Cruz, allowed me to actually interact with such amazing activists such as Dr. Angela Davis, Bobby Seale, who's one of the co-founders of the Black Panther Party, and Malcolm X's eldest daughter, Atala Shabazz. And so being able to discuss issues that are affecting Black students all across California and what we can actually do to mobilize young Black people in the state to actually create a difference within our colleges, within our future, was such an amazing experience for me. So I can regale so many stories of UC Santa Cruz and the Black community and things of that nature. But really, when I think back to Santa Cruz, was that Santa Cruz really gave me the tools to determine my life and to be in the role that I am today, right? Like I told y'all, I started off as a science major, and I still graduated. I graduated with a chemistry degree. I am a science major. I'm a science nerd at heart. I'm a Black nerd at heart. But I also care a lot about social justice. I also care a lot about our people. And I know that they're one and the same, and they're tied to each other. And so a lot of the things I learned at Santa Cruz outside of the classroom gave me the tools to be in my role today in the NAACP as a national youth and college organizing manager, where I actually get to work with Black students across the state or across the country, actually, in thinking about ways to really change policy and ensure that we actually take advantage of our vote in this next election. And so the last thing I want to leave y'all as young people is that it's a very important time in your lives. I know you are making a lot of decisions. There's a lot of things happening in the country. There's a lot of unrest. I really hope that you and your families are safe during this time. But what I want to say about Santa Cruz is that at Santa Cruz, you truly stand on the shoulders of giants. That there are so many phenomenal Black leaders who have come from UC Santa Cruz. And I truly believe that you will continue to be one of them. And so I thank y'all so much for this time. I thank y'all so much for having me on this webinar with y'all. It's so great just to be back in that space. I'm super excited to go back to Santa Cruz when everything reopens and check it out again. But I'll actually spend the next 5 minutes answering some questions. If folks have anything they want to ask about being an alumni at UC Santa Cruz, any experiences I had as a STEM major, any experiences I had as a Black student leader, what are some of the opportunities that are on and off campus? I think some of my stories still stay true. And if anything has changed, I definitely welcome any of the staff, the students who are currently at Santa Cruz to help correct me.
Thanks so much, Wisdom. Dawn, did you have a question that you see coming through the chat for Wisdom?
Yeah, so some of the questions we're seeing is, how did Santa Cruz help you find a job after graduating? And, you know, what connections did you build on campus that helped contribute to your success after you graduated?
So at Santa Cruz, really interesting. Like I said, I started off as a biochemistry major. I actually was part of the ACE program. I forgot the name of the program, but I got into one of the programs on Science Hill that actually supports minority students getting into research labs. And so I was part of that program for one summer. And when I was doing research, I didn't necessarily have the best experience. And so I started to kind of like make a lateral decision and thinking about, all right, what do I actually want to do when I graduate? And I actually had a lot of opportunities to be a part of STEM education classes and actually become a STEM teacher. And so at Santa Cruz, I got an internship at UC Berkeley, where I lived at Berkeley over the summer, and I actually lived at something called the Afro House, which really inspired me to actually be part of RPath and actually get to do research around STEM education and eventually become a STEM teacher for a couple years after I graduated. So after I graduated Santa Cruz, I actually got a master's in STEM education and taught high school math, science, and African American studies for 3 years before I got connected to NAACP. And even that story is amazing because my director right now, her name is Tiffany Dean Lofton, and she's actually an alumni at UC Santa Cruz. And so I actually met her on campus during my second year, and we stayed connected through the years. And so again, when I say there's a legacy of Black student leadership at Santa Cruz. Huey P. Newton, who was one of the co-founders of the Black Panther Party, did his history of consciousness, or his dissertation on history of consciousness at UC Santa Cruz. And so there's so many connections, one to the Bay Area, to DC, to the world, through UC Santa Cruz that you can get connected to. And so definitely talk to your alumni. If you go to the next slide, Dawn.
Yes. Here we go.
There is my Instagram, my Twitter, my email. Feel free to email me. Feel free to hit me up if you have any questions, if you want to get connected with other folks, because we have a really, really deep network.
Thanks, Wisdom. So another question that's come up is, did employers value your degree from Santa Cruz?
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I feel like UC Santa Cruz, and again, I think I always tell this, even like my little sister, she goes to UC Merced right now, and I tell folks that college is what you make of it, right? Regardless of what people may say, or rankings or this or that, college is really about the experiences and the tools that you collect. And so Santa Cruz gave me the opportunity to become the person I was today. And so the tools and the skills and the experiences I had at Santa Cruz really were valuable in the field I wanted to get into, right? As an educator, right, I had the opportunity to work hands-on with students before I graduated, right? As a student leader, we brought up young Black students to UC Santa Cruz every spring, and that was a valued part of my experience, right? And so thinking about your college experience, think what are the places and spaces that can give you the experiences necessary for the career you want to get into.
Well, thank you. Any more questions? I think those are the questions we've got. We've got a lot of love for you in all of our comment section. Everybody is very inspired by your story and your experiences, and thank you so much for, oh, we have a raised hand. Oh, and from the control booth, we have lots of love there too.
Nice. I do see a question that says, what are some challenges specifically in research that you had? So for me, again, like I said before, I remember walking to my freshman chemistry class, and it was I think it was in classroom unit 1, and there are classroom unit 2 maybe, and there's like 500 seats, and there were 2 Black people in the entire class. And I definitely got some comments, I definitely got some looks, and that didn't deter me. I still fought to make sure that I got a position in the lab. But for me, being in that space, oftentimes feeling like people were looking at me, people were questioning whether I deserved to be there or not, and me just constantly working to prove them that, like, hey, this is my right to be here, that I've worked very hard. I'm as smart as everyone else, maybe even smarter, and I can hold myself with the best of them. And so I think that when I think about research, right, is learning that, hey, research is stuff that informs the world, and figuring out like whether your passions and your tools and the talents that you have actually fit with that. And so I still love research. I hope to one day become a professor myself, thinking about STEM education, thinking about community organizing, thinking about organizational leadership, things of that nature. And so I think Santa Cruz has a great plethora of opportunities for students to get engaged in research. And so I definitely would highly encourage everybody to do that.
Awesome. Thanks, Wisdom. And another question came up. So what was the Nigerian community like on campus?
So when I was back on campus, there was not that many Nigerian Americans on campus. Funny enough, my cousin, who was a senior when I was a freshman, was there, and we were the only 2 Yorubas who were on campus. But one of the really defining experiences for me on campus was being a part of the African Student Union, which has developed and expanded, more than we could have ever imagined when we were back on campus. But the African Student Union space was a great space for us to convene as African students to talk about what issues are affecting our community back at home, as well here on campus. Every spring, we had the African Student Union Cultural Show. I know there is, throughout the UC system, there's like a Nigerian Student Alliance as well. And so there's definitely like a vast opportunity to get connected with your community. Didn't find any really good jollof rice, but if you go to the Bay or go to Oakland or San Francisco, you can find some things, but you got to make do.
Sorry, that made me laugh. Definitely no good jollof here in Santa Cruz.
Thank you, Wisdom. Thank you, Wisdom, for your wisdom.
No problem.
All righty. So thanks for that very illustrative experience that you've had at UCSC. I think you painted a really good picture of what folks can anticipate and expect, in addition to what we've shared a little earlier. So yes, thank you, Wisdom, for living up to your namesake. I am in constant awe of ways in which you continue to advocate for justice and truth, moving with empathy and passion. I definitely encourage you all to follow Wisdom social media platforms. It's always, as the cool kids say, lit. Yeah, I'm aging myself. I just did that. But it's a great opportunity to engage in different ways for active participation in some of the challenges, protocols, and policies that we face as folks of African heritage. So please, Wisdom, keep up the great work. You and Tiffany have done an amazing job of really blazing pioneering work in the DC spectrum of how we need to really stay plugged and connected to our political realm. Words, sorry. And now I would like to transition us to the part of the program where we enjoy all of the joys of financial aid. As we generally have seen a lot of questions about this component for financing our education. So I'd like to introduce Glenn Gumman, the Assistant Director in Financial Aid and Scholarship Office, to address the group.
Thanks, Shonte. Hi, my name is Glenn Gumman. I'm the Assistant Director over at the Financial Aid and Scholarships Office. I've been on campus now for about 6 years. In a former lifetime, I actually used to work in athletics. Used to actually coach women's basketball in a small school in the Midwest. Right now, I help coordinate our service channels, special programs such as Study Abroad, Summer Session, Summer Edge, and Outreach for the Financial Aid Office. So I'm hoping you guys are finding this presentation helpful. Our office definitely welcomes you, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the near future. Now, looking at the slide here, we want to review the total cost of attendance before we actually start covering aid and scholarships. So when you're looking at these figures, these are estimates for next year. And aside from tuition and fees, and then your UC Student Health, these amounts are averages for all students based on surveys. Now, if you're not a resident of California, either international or from another state, you will be paying the non-resident supplemental tuition since we are a public university. Now, our office's goal is to do our part to provide resources that will help make a UC Santa Cruz education more affordable for you. Last year, our office awarded about $290 million in financial aid to students. So there is help out there. Now, in order to receive financial aid packages on time, you want to make sure to adhere to the different deadlines that are out there. So if you look at this financial aid timeline, let's look at the first one, October 1st through March 2nd. Now, this is the application window. Starts October 1st through March 2nd. I would suggest putting that in your calendar now. Do that as a reoccurring event. This way, you have 6 months to turn in that financial aid application, whether it's a FAFSA or whether it's the California Dream application. You want to make sure that you submit that by March 2nd prior to the next academic year. Okay? This is important because of the Cal Grant deadline. So your financial aid application is your application for financial aid for federal, state, and then also university. From March 25th up to May 1st for our freshman students, you should have already received a conditional aid offer on your portal, and that's on your My UCSC. For our transfer students, you're looking at by June 1st. Okay? Now, look at the priority deadline. So once you decide to serve, with UC Santa Cruz, you'll want to take a look at your to-do list on your My UCSC. And if there's any required documentation from our office, you'll want to make sure to submit that by June 2nd. Okay? But that gives us priority processing time, so that way we can guarantee that you get your financial aid package over the summer and definitely before the fall quarter. Now, through July 1st through September 1st, you should see an email, as I mentioned, which will tell you your financial aid is available on your portal. You will also get a message actually from your portal that will let you know that your aid is available. And then in late August, by late August, I should say, you'll want to accept your aid offer. Now, at that point, you're going to be able to use the payment estimator to estimate how much you will owe for the quarter. Now, this is a very important tool for you to utilize, and it's on our website, which is financialaid.ucsc.edu. What this does is you can go ahead and input what your bill is. So as a incoming freshman living on campus, your bill would be your tuition and fees, and then also your housing and your meal plan. If you decide to, you're also billed for health insurance, but if you decide to waive that, you would not be billed for that. So again, upon receiving that final award, you'll want to make sure that you accept or decline that award offer. And then again, when you submit that application, this will show you your eligibility for the different types of aid. So you have the federal government, which provides either a Pell Grant, which is grant money, that's free money, you don't have to pay that back. Federal work study, so this provides money in which you have the ability to earn that. So there are various on and off campus work study positions that you can apply for. I would suggest looking at the Career Center website and looking at those opportunities to earn that money. And then part of your financial aid package also would be direct loans. So these are direct loans to you through the federal government, whether they're subsidized or unsubsidized, and you do have 6 months after you graduate or stop going to school full-time to then pay those back. Again, these are loans, so you would have to pay them back. If you decide to go on to your master's or any grad work, then that grace period extends out. The FAFSA, again, is your state application, so this determines your eligibility for Cal Grant, which is a tuition-paying grant. If you're not eligible for Cal Grant, then they will look at the middle class scholarship, depending on what your income level. And then there's also the Chafee Grant for our foster youth, which is determined by the FAFSA. Lastly, the university, we do provide a university grant. So depending on your eligibility, what the Pell Grant or the Cal Grant doesn't cover for you, the university grant will then come in and help dollar for dollar. We also offer institutional work study, a university loan, which is another loan that we offer to first or second year students. The Dream Loan for our dreamers, which provides them about $3,000 to $4,000 a year, and then departmental scholarships. This one's really important. As you get on campus and then you start, figuring out what your major is and what departments you're going to be associated with, you'll want to go ahead and start talking, to your professors, to your advisors, to all your different contacts, and understanding what type of funding is available within the department. As you start getting involved with different student organizations, seeing what type of funding is available there. There's a lot of on-campus scholarships that are available, but you do have to apply. You do have to go out there and ask those questions and see what's out there. Okay. And then lastly, through private agencies, we have scholarships. These are external scholarships. A lot of times, students and families are asking me about scholarships. There's plenty of resources on our website. These are basically search engines, but remember to look at these throughout the year. A lot of times students, families are looking at this right now, right before the fall comes about. But you should look at this all throughout the year because there's different application deadlines and there's different awarding periods. So these are things that can happen at any time. So those are the different types of aid that we have. So at this point, I'll go ahead and take a couple questions.
Thanks, Glenn. So some of the questions that we're seeing revolve around COVID-19. So if a student's family income has changed because of coronavirus, what steps should they take to edit their package or, talk to somebody?
Yeah, we understand this is kind of a unique time right now, and financial circumstances have changed for a lot of students, a lot of families. Right now, in order to kind of determine what your aid would look like, again, use that financial aid estimator that I've mentioned. It's a calculator that's on our website. Again, financialaid.ucsc.edu. I believe we already showed the link, but we do take appeals, okay? But we will not take the actual formal appeals until after May 1st for our FROSH students. Take a look at our appeals section on our website. That will tell you the different type of documentation, the different type of information that we will need. So, remember what you submit on your FAFSA or your DREAM application, that's based on the 2018 financial information. What's going on now may be completely different. So we want you to be able to go ahead and appeal that and then see what type of adjustment we can make to your financial aid package. But utilize that financial aid estimator that will help you kind of determine what that possible adjustment would be, okay? Especially if there is, say, such as loss of wages or a loss of job employment. We do understand that is out there right now. And then we review appeals all through the summer also. Okay?
Thanks, Glenn. We're getting some questions about the Blue and Gold Scholarship. Do you have any more information that you can share with us about that?
Yeah, the Blue and Gold opportunity. So what we look at is it's determined by a certain income level, and if for some reason you don't qualify for one of the federal or state grants, tuition paying grants, that Blue and Gold opportunity will go in and assist with tuition and fees. It's not awarded right off the bat on your financial aid award, so you wouldn't see that then. It is something that we look at usually after the first month of the quarter, and that's the fall quarter, and then we look to see to determine who's eligible for it, and we will apply that to the students that are eligible and their financial aid packages. But you can always contact us if you have any questions about that regarding your eligibility, and we can tell you, at that point.
Got it. Thank you. When a student gets their financial aid package, do they have to accept all of everything in the package?
No. Remember, when we provide you that formal financial aid package, you actually have all year to accept that package. Okay, that package is an option for you, and to give you kind of an understanding. I mean, 70% of our students are on financial aid, so we understand that. What you want to look at is back to that budget I mentioned earlier. Again, what are your billable items? So as an incoming student, your billable items and someone that lives on campus will be the tuition and fees, your housing, your meal plans, and then that health insurance if that's something that you're going to be utilizing. Now, at the same time with health insurance, you may receive a grant that will pay that, okay? So that would help out. But you'll want to determine how much of your aid you want to utilize. If you're receiving any types of grants or scholarships, accept those, okay? That's free money. If you receive a Pell Grant, we're going to automatically accept that for you in our office, so you don't have to think about that. But again, that's free money with the grants. You don't have to pay that back, accept those at minimum. And use that calculator that I mentioned. That will help you determine what type of gap you may have between your grants and what your bill is. And then you can make that decision as to whether you want to take out loans or not. Okay? So loans are part of your financial aid package. I understand. I took out student loans when I went to school, but coming from working on the corporate side and working with consumer debt, that's something I also get concerned with also. So if you need any assistance with that, reach out to our office and we can walk you through that process. I think a lot of times students will just go in and wanted to just accept everything. And then they realize they didn't need to, okay? So drilling down really what your billable items are, and then at the same time, what your non-billable items are, such as your books and supplies, right? So you're gonna need that, and then whatever personal expenses you may have during the quarter and throughout the year.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. And while we're on loans, could you elaborate a little bit more on interest rates for loans, as well as the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized loans?
Sure. So if you're offered as a first-year student the federal direct subsidized or unsubsidized loans, so the big difference between the two loans is the subsidized loan, the interest does not accrue while you're in school. But the unsubsidized loan, the interest does accrue. I believe the interest rate, and don't quote me on this, is about 6%. You can go onto our website, and if you go onto the landing page and see types of aid, you can pull down the federal direct loans there, and we have the up-to-date interest rates on there. It's a direct link to the federal government, so you can see that. But again, as a first-year student, you qualify for about $3,500 for the subsidized loan, and then $2,000 for an unsubsidized loan. And these are for dependent students. The limits are a little higher for our independent students, and a lot of times that's our transfer students that come in. I believe there's some transfer students here also on this call. I keep referring over to our website because it is a great resource, okay? A lot of things that I'm talking about, I quote directly from there, okay? I suggest going there, but definitely reach out to our office if you have any questions.
Got it. Thank you. A couple more questions. So
Sure.
how exactly does work study work?
Yeah, so if you're eligible for work study, typically if you're a Pell eligible student, you'll get it automatically onto your financial aid package. At the same time, if you note that on your FAFSA or your DREAM application, we'll look at your eligibility and provide that on your financial aid package. First is you want to go ahead and accept it. As a first-year student, typically you receive about $2,000 of work study. And what does that mean? You have the ability to earn $2,000, okay? So as I mentioned earlier, go to that Career Center website, look at the work study eligible positions, all right? You can start applying for those after you accept that award. And you get paid basically like any other university employee every other week, depending on your pay rate and how many hours that you work. Now, when you earn up to that $2,000 for that year, you can use whatever you want with that money, okay? So that money goes direct deposit directly to you, and then typically students use that for their personal expenses. So back to those books and supplies, anything that you may be spending money on while you're here. One thing to note too is when you're, not here yet, the way you spend your money will be completely different from the way you spend money here once you get onto campus. So I suggest, tracking that, those expenses. That way you can budget your money accordingly.
Awesome. Thanks, Glenn. Okay, so we're going to transition into our next steps. If you have more questions for financial aid, you can visit their website and find their contact information there. It's, as Glenn said, a really great resource to a lot of your questions. But as we, get ready to have you on campus, let's get you ready for the next steps. So for folks who have already, you've all received your offer of admission, if you haven't accepted yet, that would be your next step. So submitting your SIR, also known as your Statement of Intent to Register. For freshmen, that is due on May 1st, by 11:59 p.m. And for transfers, you have until June 1st to accept your SIR. You need to, after you submit your SIR, we want to make sure you're meeting the conditions of admission. So essentially that just means keep doing your best. Like Wisdom and other folks have mentioned, we are living in very unique times, and we want you to, keep up the work that you're doing. And if you have any concerns, you can always reach out to admissions. We have a great resource for you all on, just what to do in the times of coronavirus. Keep an eye out for our dates and deadlines, very important dates and deadlines, such as like housing application, enrollment deadlines, and financial aid. So, stay on top of it. Complete your to-do list in your portal. So that's where the campus will tell you what we need from you in order to, move on to the next process. We also have opportunities for you to explore our campus digitally and complete orientation. So we have slug orientation, Summer Edge, Black Academy. These are all ways for you to get connected to our campus. And last but not least, get ready to pack. So I mentioned slug orientation and Summer Edge, and here are what those two things are. So slug orientation is your first step into transitioning to our campus. You'll select and enroll in your classes here, at orientation. You'll receive your academic advising. You'll learn about clubs and organizations and activities on campus. To enroll in your classes, you have to complete courses 1 and 2 for orientation. you need to submit your transcripts and your test scores to admissions in order to actually enroll in your classes. Summer Edge is an opportunity for you to get started on earning credits. It's from July 21st to August 29th, and you'll not only get 25% off summer tuition, but you get to do field trips, and you'll have your housing from summer into fall quarter. So these are just some of the great opportunities that we have for you before the school year begins. And I know Shonte has one more very important program to share.
Great. Thanks so much, Dawn, for all of that pertinent information. I also just want to name that we are obviously in an unprecedented reality right now. So there are contingency plans in place in the event, for whatever reason, we are remote for fall. So I'm sure that's a question that folks have, and I've seen a couple questions come in the Q&A. So right now the plan is to have everyone back on campus, and in the event that that doesn't work out, we are working tirelessly to put in some other opportunities. So with that, Dawn mentioned briefly Black Academy. So Black Academy is my baby, and I've had the fortunate opportunity to work alongside Dr. Jones to grow this baby into this 5-year-old being, where we are celebrating and supporting and front-loading a series of resources for our incoming frosh and transfer students. You'll see that some of the folks on the call may make some cameos in this video, but it's really a 6-day residential orientation program to make sure, again, that not only folks are building community, which is a large part of how you can plug into the university, to make sure, again, that we are enacting an opportunity for you to have a sense of belonging, and also to know at least upward of 49 or so folks that you'll know upon the onset of your welcome week, and the different ways in which you're going to engage in the program. So I don't want to give too much away because the video is awesome. I also want to name that we are going to go overtime by a few minutes. So if you can still stay, this video is great. I'm biased because it's my program, but also the video is amazing, and we do want to share a few more opportunities for you to plug in and get additional questions answered if for whatever reason they weren't earlier. So if you can hang out with us for a few more minutes, that would be appreciated. So with that, to learn more about Black Academy, here's a video talking more about the program. So right now you should have 5 pieces of yarn. You should have 4 short pieces and 1 long piece. Okay, so we've spent 6, I would say, awesome, amazing, phenomenal days together, again, learning and growing, going back to day 1. So I want you all to kind of acknowledge and give a little gratitude for the different folks that you encountered. Tell them something that you appreciate about them, maybe something that you learned from them, something that you hope to kind of learn from them over the course of the next time.
I also appreciate the passion that you have for your education, and last, I appreciate how much of a family man you are, and your family is a true inspiration in this need. So I truly appreciate it. I truly do.
It's just good to just to be with you guys. Like, it's like I feel powerful, like I feel emboldened when I'm with you guys. I don't have to be different.
You need to care about your education. First and foremost, you need to care about your education. Doesn't matter whether they do, it's you.
All of the resources that UCSC has, coming here I knew like I would be a minority, so like knowing that there are a lot of like organizations I could go to and just like seek help was really, really nice.
I want to say thank you all for welcoming me here, because sometimes since I'm mixed, I don't really know where I fit in, and you guys were all really welcoming and nice, and it felt like I was at home. So thank you.
But to be able to be in that room and just to be carefree, and there was like so much Black joy, and it was just amazing. So yeah.
I just want to say thank you for being you, and thank you for being unapologetically Black and having your voice and teaching my next generation what Black excellence looks like.
Holla back! I got your back! Holla back! I got your back! Holla back! I got your back!
Black Academy is really an opportunity for students to connect with one another, to have their resources front loaded, and to really, again, build a sense of community. So as they continue to transition, they have kind of a natural set of friends and folks that have identities that intersect with their own.
Retention is kind of this big buzzword, but I think it's more than just being retained. It's feeling like you belong on campus, that you've earned your spot to be here. Students of color feeling like they're guests in someone else's house. And students, our Black students that participate in the program, are able to see their faces on the wall, like faces that are similar to theirs. They're seeing faculty, they're seeing staff, they're seeing current students that are thriving and doing well, and that gives them a sense that they are able to do well also.
I would say a large part of what we've really benefited from is adding a different layer, and we have mentors. And 4 to 5 of them have been folks that have gone through the program and that believe in the strength of Black Academy. So they have come back in a different capacity to then support the journey of other individuals, because they, again, believe that it is powerful, again, it is transformative, it is an opportunity for them to continue to express their joy and their excitement by being a part of it.
You step into my light. Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Aitana Renee Parker, pronouns she, her, hers, and I will be one of your mentors for Black Academy.
Davon Thomas. I'm a third-year history major with emphasis in Americas and Africa. Something about Africa, America, that's my niche. I love it. I'm from Sacramento, California. My pronouns are he, him, his. And so if you're ever history, politics, legal studies, any of those three, if you need like advice, you know what classes to take, what professors are the best to take, I'm the person for that. So hit me up if you ever need help. So it's good.
I would say be yourself, be expressive. Don't be afraid to fail, because it's college, you know, it's a learning experience, and everyone is here to support you. That's what Black Academy is here. We're here to be there when you do fail, then show you how you can move forward from that experience. And so don't be afraid to ask for help, ask questions. It's really a learning experience, and that's just advice that I would give you guys.
To have this program like this, and to know that UCSC is funding it unapologetically, and folks are participating and it's growing, that's cool. I think that's cool.
I think it's good to have a program like this to where the kids feel inclusive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want them to feel comfortable.
I feel very great, confident to leave her here. I'm looking forward to coming to graduation and seeing her achieving great deals and make this family proud.
You know, you're a representative, and what do I mean by that? I mean that you're representing yourself. Your actions and your behaviors will represent yourself, and as well, you're representing wherever you came from, whether it's East Oakland or South Central Los Angeles or Compton. You're representing where you come from as well, and you represent your families. You represent you know, your parents, your grandparents, and everyone who came before. You're a representative of that. And you owe it to your ancestors, you owe it to your families to make the best decisions you can and do the very best you can here on campus. So there will be obstacles and things that you can't control, but whatever's within your control, you know, definitely do your very best.
I almost had, like a decade ago, I did not think that I would be here. So I just wanted to say thank you.
But growing up, I've always been really unsure about my Black identity. So through Black Academy, I think I've really found myself. And I thank Ms. Shonte for this experience. Thank you.
What I've learned is that we have this community to like always rely on, and there's people here who want to see us succeed. So thank you guys.
Black Academy 2018!
Thanks for sharing that. So again, if you do decide to attend UCSC, there will be applications sent out for Black Academy, and definitely more information will be included. So just again, to make sure that you are all staying connected with us, make sure to attend more virtual events, follow our accounts, and connect with our students online. So you should see a slide on the screen that gives you a little bit more specific information. With that, if you're interested in connecting with me, here's the best way to reach me: via email. Also, you are encouraged to engage with our social media accounts. We have a lot of fun opportunities for you to engage and also speak with some of my student staff. I have 16 interns that work directly for the African American Resource and Cultural Center, and they're all willing to engage and give you their real life experience. Again, our plan is not to sugarcoat and not to say that there will not be challenges, but one of the benefit of the folk that I have the opportunity to work with daily is to know that in the event something arises, you have some sort of injustice or there's some sort of inequity, we're here to support you through that process, to advocate on your behalf, to be a liaison, and really to help you thrive. You know, we want you to come here and just be a student. And sometimes that is not always easy. Again, given the way in which this world works, the institutional and structural racism, they are definitely things, and they are things that we are working to combat and work against every day, all day, because white supremacy doesn't take a break, even in the realm of COVID-19. But I also just want to state that you have folks here willing to fight with you and support you so that you can live your best life. On behalf of the Office of Admissions and the African American Resource and Cultural Center, I'd like to thank you all for attending this event and considering UC Santa Cruz as your new home. As well, thank you again to the panelists and all of the folks behind the scenes who've helped create this space despite our distance. Last notes to the students. You have an amazing opportunity. You're considering your options. I just want to first and foremost say you belong to be wherever you decide to go. The decision that you make will have a lasting impression on you. So I want to make sure wherever you decide to go, if it's not my alum, if you don't want to become an alum like myself and Wisdom and some of the other folks on the phone, wherever you decide to go, seek out all of the resources, take up all of the space, and make your time count. Again, thank you for coming today. Have a great day, and this concludes our event. Be well.